The Legend of Zelda. It's one of the few Nintendo games that's actually well known partially for what's in its box, along with its gameplay, of course. We see immediately that this package is unique in several ways. Most obviously, there's a cutout and it's revealing a gold-colored cartridge. But also, we get none of the usual exciting or fantastical art that most games had. No main characters, no scenery, no action. Simply an emblem, a title, and a few words about the contents of the box. Nintendo is saying here simply, this game is special. It's a sign of confidence in the world and story they've built for the game, and I love how they gave it such an elegant presentation. Before we look inside, let's take a look at the back. After seeing the front, you could almost consider it surprising that the back is pretty standard for an NES game. We've got two screenshots, an overworld location and a dungeon, and hypertext telling us the only sound you'll hear is your own heart pounding as you race through forests, lakes, mountains, and dungeonous mazes. It also says, The Legend of Zelda is the most challenging video game we've ever created. So they point out that it comes with a map as well as the ability to save your progress. Now let's open it up. Of course, the cartridge is the star of the show. I don't have to point out that the gold color simply looks amazing. What's also really impressive though is that whatever this gold is made out of, it's shown no sign of degrading over nearly 40 years. Look, besides this tiny little spot around the center screw in the back, it isn't flaking, it hasn't rubbed off from being pushed into the console, and it hasn't lost its luster. 40 years. There is more to see though. First, let's look at the maps and strategies foldout. It's got some nice art of Link. It tells you to use this only as a last resort. Opening it up, on this side we've got an overworld map. There's lots of other stuff too, as you can see. Let's not overlook the title art to start off with, which you'll probably recognize from the title screen of the game. Then there's this grid of enemy sprites. I think it's funny and kind of strange that they have scan lines on the art here. Then there are a few tips and a list of all the items you'll acquire in a playthrough. On the other side, there are some more hints, maps of the first two dungeons, and advice for making your own maps. And finally, the manual. It starts off with some backstory that's a bit difficult to read on some parts, specifically where the black text is placed over dark green parts of the background. But anyway, it tells how Ganon is trying to take over Hyrule, and Zelda split the Triforce into fragments to hide them from him, and her nursemaid Impa plays a surprisingly big role in all of this. I really love the art on these next few pages, which have some more general hints for progressing in the game. The rest of the manual has basic information about playing the game, what the items do, things like that, with a lot of cute art sprinkled about. The art of the bad guys is really cool. The Zola is evidently half fish, half woman. But yeah, that's mostly it until the last few pages where we get a very brief walkthrough of the first little bit of the game. The great thing about the unique packing of this game is that it wasn't forced. It doesn't feel like a gimmick. Nintendo just knew they had something special on their hands. And just about everything about it complemented everything else so well. When you were young and you put this gold cartridge in your Nintendo and you were greeted by the iconic title music, then thrown into an open world, it all worked together so well to make you feel like you were going on an adventure.